In December, a small AI chip startup was worth about $5 billion. 8 months later, it's worth $21 billion. In the last month alone, its value more than doubled. It has fewer than 500 employees. It has shipped exactly one product. And it was founded by 3 college dropouts who bet their entire company on a single, strange idea. That Nvidia, the most dominant chip maker on Earth, was building the wrong kind of chip. This is the story of Etched, and why some of the smartest investors on Wall Street suddenly think it might be right. Etched was founded in 2022 by Gavin Uberti and Chris Zhu, 2 Harvard students who left school, backed by a Thiel Fellowship, a program that pays young founders to skip college and build companies instead. Their idea ran directly against the accepted wisdom of the entire chip industry. Nvidia had spent decades building general-purpose graphics chips, hardware flexible enough to handle gaming, scientific simulation, and eventually, almost by accident, the machine learning boom that would reshape the entire tech industry. That flexibility was Nvidia's greatest strength, and its business empire was built on it. Uberti and Zhu believed that flexibility was also a weakness, at least for one very specific, very fast-growing job: running already trained AI models to actually answer people's questions, a process the industry calls inference. Every time someone asks a chatbot a question, generates an image, or has an AI agent complete a task, that's inference happening, and at the scale AI companies now operate, inference is starting to consume far more computing power than the original training of the models ever did. Etched's bet was simple to describe and enormously risky to execute. Build a chip that does only one thing, transformer inference, the specific architecture underneath almost every major AI model today, and strip away everything a general-purpose GPU needs but a dedicated inference chip doesn't. The result was a chip called SOHU, an ASIC, meaning application-specific integrated circuit, hard-coded at the silicon level to run transformer models and essentially nothing else. Unlike Nvidia's chips, SOHU can't render video games or run general scientific computing. It does one job. But according to Etched, it does that one job dramatically better, with the company claiming roughly a 20 times inference speed advantage over Nvidia's widely used H100 chip. That's an enormous claim in an industry where efficiency gains are usually measured in small single-digit percentages, not multiples. For years, this kind of specialized chip bet was viewed with real skepticism across the industry. Building custom silicon is brutally expensive, manufacturing takes years, and semiconductor history is genuinely full of brilliant, technically impressive chips that never turned into viable businesses, because by the time they reached the market, the underlying technology or customer needs had already shifted. Etched needed real customers willing to bet real infrastructure on unproven hardware, from a company with no public track record, competing directly against the most entrenched chip maker in the world. Then, in July of 2026, Etched closed a $300 million funding round led by Sequoia Capital, valuing the company at $10.3 billion, already more than double its $5 billion valuation from just 7 months earlier in December. That alone would have been a remarkable year for any startup. It wasn't close to the end. Barely a month later, in mid-August, Etched announced a new $700 million round, this time led by Jane Street, the enormous quantitative trading firm best known for its aggressive, math-driven approach to markets. This new round valued Etched at $21 billion, roughly double its valuation from just weeks earlier. In total, the company has now raised close to $2 billion, backed not just by Jane Street but by Sequoia, Andreessen Horowitz, Blackstone, and Kleiner Perkins, some of the most influential investors in technology and finance. Jane Street wasn't only an investor this time. It became Etched's very first customer, receiving its first working rack of SOHU-powered hardware and deploying it directly into its own trading workloads. Etched says it has now secured more than $1 billion in customer contracts across public and private AI companies, along with major cloud providers, and has been actively hiring veteran engineers away from Nvidia itself to build out its team. What makes this moment significant isn't just the size of the valuation jump, striking as that is. It's what the jump signals about where the AI industry believes its money will actually be made next. The first wave of the generative AI boom was dominated by the models themselves, and the companies building flashy consumer chatbots and creative tools. Increasingly, attention and enormous amounts of investor money is shifting toward the unglamorous infrastructure underneath those systems, the actual physical hardware running billions of AI queries every single day. Training a large AI model happens periodically, in expensive but finite bursts. Inference happens constantly, every time anyone anywhere uses that model, and at global scale those costs compound relentlessly. If a company can meaningfully cut the cost of inference, even by a modest percentage, the financial impact across the entire AI industry could be enormous. Etched isn't alone in chasing this opportunity. Google, Amazon, and Microsoft have all built their own specialized AI processors, and a growing wave of chip startups are racing to reduce the industry's dependence on Nvidia hardware, specifically at the inference layer. But Etched, virtually overnight, has become one of the most closely watched names in that race. Nvidia, for its part, remains extraordinarily difficult to dislodge. It still dominates AI training almost completely, commands enormous customer loyalty, and has the resources to respond to any credible threat with its own next-generation hardware. Industry analysts remain genuinely split on Etched's prospects. Some point to its real, signed customer contracts and working hardware as proof this isn't just hype. Others note, correctly, that a single flagship customer, even one as prominent as Jane Street and $1 billion in contracts, is still a tiny fraction of the AI infrastructure market Nvidia currently controls. As one analyst put it bluntly, Etched has impressive technology and serious customer interest, but semiconductor history is littered with brilliant chips that never became great businesses. Whether Etched becomes the company that finally cracks Nvidia's grip on a piece of the AI hardware market, or simply another expensive cautionary tale, is a question nobody, including its own investors, can honestly answer yet. What's undeniable is how fast the bet is being made. $21 billion for a 3-year-old company built on a single controversial idea, in a single month. 3 college dropouts made a bet that Nvidia was building the wrong chip for the next phase of AI. Right now, some of the world's sharpest investors are betting hundreds of millions of dollars that they're right. Whether that bet pays off is still being written in real time. If stories like this fascinate you, this channel tracks the biggest shifts happening in AI and technology every week. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next one.